Before we get into this morning's live, I would like to touch base on a few things that are transpiring across the crypto market. As we can see, we're pretty green here to start the day on this Friday, which is a good sign to end the trading week. XRP's up a couple percent, up over $3.18. Bitcoin's retaken that 105,000. A large amount of what we talked about yesterday was about that liquidation level that we have around that $3. It starts at about $3.38, but it goes all the way up to, gotta love YouTube, goes all the way up to around that $3.50 range. However, there is a large amount of liquidity below as well. It just seems more advantageous for the price to go up to that $3.50 range. Even if we wanted to come down to that 230 or 260 level, it seems like we want to make a push up first. So we'll take a look very deeply. I've had some people tell me we're in a descending, broadening wedge. I just don't see it as much. I can see it, but you have to build it out a little bit. I think we were trying to build it out as well into a megaphone pattern, but I think just in the here and now, we can at least find some solace in just a bull flag, a traditional bull flag setup. Obviously I projected it way out, but if you just lower this, I can see though, I could see, like, this is what I was thinking with maybe but I could see if you came like this and then you just kind of cut it off a little bit and just play it out and then just say, oh, well, that is decent. I could see something like this as well, but then it plays that resistance area a little bit lower. I don't want to force it to have to be a lower resistance just because I want to play it into some kind of descent. So I've played with this pattern a lot, believe me. But I still think this bull flag setup is probably the most likely explanation. But, you know, it definitely takes a little bit of work to get this pattern. Because you can formulate this however you really want, honestly. You can do it however you want. But I'm trying to have some reason here. Like, maybe it is forming. See, I don't even like it quite like that. Because I've been having a tough time. Do I put it here? Because it does look like some kind of a channel, like a bull flag setup. And like when you look at a traditional setup of a bull flag, it definitely looks like it's forming into that. Now, we can start playing it into different ways to form this pattern. But it gets dicey when you start, like in the smaller time frames, it's one thing. But like when I bring it into the 4 hourly, I can make a pretty nice pattern here. And it's more of a bull flag setup. Like it is. But I can see, like, some are saying a descending wedge, which if you formulate it just a little bit wider, I can definitely see that as well. It's just the lower targets for that wedge. I'm not seeing that. I can see it on a breakout or a breakdown. I'm just not necessarily seeing it without a breakdown, is what I'm trying to say. Because this gets you right to the 200 day. It's so crazy. And then on a break up, 361. So I was actually a little off yesterday when I was doing this. But it does seem like something like this is, I feel like this is something. I feel like it might be something like that. And we could even say, like, hey, you know, it did create that inverse right shoulder now. So again, I'm just explaining as I'm going along what I'm seeing this morning. I feel like this is the best way to teach when you hear me think out loud. I could come on here and make this look 100% every day, but I would rather show it in front of everybody, in front of a live audience, or even in my updates in front of a live update when it gets released. But I can certainly see that looks like, I mean, if I didn't know any better, I would almost say this is like the Phoenix. Like, all right, so you guys know this. And then, you know, that's the Rising Phoenix XRP. Did you like, I just out of curiosity, do you like how I invented it a little bit deeper? Does that simulate with any of the audience? There's no better people to ask in my audience because I like the way this looks. That's something I added to this. I kind of merged it all together from little bits and pieces that I had been given. And then I tried to I tried to formulate it into this. So I think that looks really cool. So some people say it would look good on a shirt. It might. Actually, it might. But I think that, because that's going to end up, as you know, my audience members have created me a lot of stuff for me. And I kind of use their, obviously, their influence, because somebody made me this. Somebody made me this. So I took the hands out of the diamond hands, and obviously you can see what I took from the Phoenix Rising. And then I created the Rising out of the ashes. But I think it flows very well with what my audience has created me. So green flames. Ooh. That would be interesting. But yeah, I was just curious what the audience thought, because when that came together, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that actually looks like that. I like it. So anyhow, I know I was thinking about, believe it or not, I've had the same channel logo on here on my station since 2021. I was thinking about switching my Tom Army logo and switching it to that. But, you know, it's hard to switch things for me. But that's what I was thinking. But anyhow, but then again, I don't know if I want to make it my logo, because that's going to end up being my update pictures. But you never know. You never know. But anyhow, let's continue on the charts. So I can see a very big inverse setup here. It looks like, and if you don't know what a bull flag is, I want to know what the pile was before it was ash. Ooh, that's a good question. That's a good question. That's a good question. So, that's actually a really good question. We look at this as a bull flag. So you can look at it in many different ways. And you can either have the double hit on each side, or you can have a more extended out falling channel if it ends up like that. But I mean, the most basic way to show it is just to show it. So I just wanted to show you guys the different pictures, because then you can kind of formulate it into different patterns. But yeah, I mean, it looks very similar to what, it almost, see, okay. And it makes sense, because it is an impulse wave. This is setting up as an impulse wave, and I'm, like, this is exactly what it looks like to me. If you look at it there, where were they showing the impulse wave? Yes, right here. You can see it on the top. The new flag and the impulse wave. That's exactly what formed out of the pennant flag. I feel like the new flag... The bull and beat. I just look at it as a bull flag. These are just different kind of projections and different ways that they talk about it. Just look at these as bullish flags. Don't worry about the other enunciations. Oh, Jennifer, welcome in. Jennifer and Joseph Kupiak, thank you both for tuning in. The Kupiaks are in the house. Both in Tom's Army for the first month as well. And I know, because that's the emoji badge of me being abducted by aliens. My face superimposed on that picture. I kid you not. Let me do the intro real quick. I know I didn't do the intro, but there's a lot of good stuff going on here. Oh, we got to talk about the XRP case, right? I know we're in Trump's administration right now, and it's not necessarily Trump, but it is happening again on his watch. So we got to get into this. The good, the bad, and the gritty, right? The good, the bad, and the gritty. So I'll do the intro, and then we'll talk about the new amicus filing. Unexpected, non-unexpected. So good morning. 9:14 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Friday, January 24th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. Jorge, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for, what is that, XRP Meteor, over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. I feel like some of them are getting stuck. Some of the badges, but that's a YouTube thing. Some people I feel like have been on the same badge for a while. Can't explain it. I know some of them are like year-long badges and 3-month-long badges, but still. Mary, thank you so much, and thanks for being in your first month in Tom's Army as well. I really appreciate it. What a beautiful audience we have this morning. So let's read this real quick. Ripple vs. SEC case sees unexpected action with new amicus filing. The legal dispute between Ripple Labs Inc. and the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission SEC witnessed a surprising development as Better Markets Inc., a prominent nonprofit dedicated to promoting public interest in financial markets, filed an amicus curiae brief on January 22nd. This latest submission to the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit vehemently supports the SEC's appeal against the prior district court decision, which narrowly defined the term investment contract and its applicability to XRP. In the brief, Better Markets criticizes the district court's interpretation of the Howey test traditionally used to determine whether a transaction qualifies as an investment contract and thus a security according to Better Markets. The lower court's ruling improperly excluded XRP tokens sold through secondary markets from securities regulations, focusing narrowly on the direct purchase from the issuer as a criterion for a classification. Now we're going to find out something very, very interesting. Can we trust James K. Phelan? And can we trust a few others? And you know where I'm going to go. The chief, who's our attorney at law? Who are a couple people that always tell us things? Who was a very prominent figure in the picture with Trump and Brad Garlinghouse? Who has told us time and time again that this can never be switched in the court of law to a security in any regard. So now we're going to see if that's true or we're being fed a bunch of BS. See, that's what we don't know. This is where we find credibility. Are we going to get... Is this going to go in the fashion that, hey, nothing's going to come of it because it's already said we can never switch to being a security? Or are we being told about lies and like James K. Phelan? And you know where I'm going with this. Whoops, not TikTok. You know where I'm going with this, though. When it comes to our friends, the ones who are telling us the truth, is Stuart Alderodi being honest with us when he's always tells us that this can never be ruled as security again. And I wanted to go into him, too. I wanted to make sure I had that up for it. Goes hand in hand with what I'm reading. So, I just want to make sure, we want to make sure that we're being told the truth. And this will be a good milestone here. If nothing comes of this and it doesn't get reversed, we know they were telling us the truth. If it ends up being reversed and they all of a sudden say secondary markets is security, well, so, it's, but don't let this distract you. Isn't it funny this comes out, now the price is a little bit on the rise? Let's see. James K. Phelan is my favorite to watch for up-to-date information. He's always got you with the actual official documents. Like this is docket entry 49, page 1 of 41 from January 22nd, 2025. So this is the official document. So if you're wondering if this is real, it is. So Securities and Exchange Commission, plaintiff across appellate, Ripple Labs, defendant, Bradley Garlinghouse, Christian A. Larson's, on appeal from a final order of the U.S. District Court. So let's see what it says on it. I know it is. Pursuant to Rule 26.1 and 29 of the Federal Rules of Appellate Procedure, Better Markets, Inc. states that it has no parent company and that there is no publicly held company that has any ownership interest in Better Markets. I already find that hard to believe. So XRP cryptocurrency offerings are investment contract securities, and investors' acquisition of those securities on trading platforms does not alter their character as such. Investors acquiring their tokens on platforms clearly satisfied Howey's third prong. The district court's distinction fields no support in the statutory definition of a security. The district court's decision... This is another reason why paying taxes on crypto seems really stupid to us right now. Even though I've paid it the last 3 years... The fact they're going through with this, there's 0% chance that I'm going to pay taxes on an XRP cryptocurrency. If they're going to keep fighting that it's security, I'm not paying a crypto tax on security, period. That's just the way it's going to have to be. If this is the way it's going to always go, if they're going to keep trying to tell me this is a security, why am I paying a crypto tax? Sorry, can't have it both ways. So at some point, there's the devil's advocate rule. You keep showing us this line of bullshit, and a bunch of people decide the same thing, and they start filing these little appeals in these little class action lawsuits That's why Trump is in the. Why do you think Trump? It's it makes perfect sense to me now. Why is Trump saying that he wants to get rid of capital gains tax on certain tokens? Maybe it's because they're going to start saying a lot of them are securities. And if that's the case, fine, then we're dealing with securities here, and then we're not paying a crypto tax. Like, there's got to be some kind of reason that all this is going on at the same time, and it's starting to make sense. You put somebody in office that you trust, and I've been saying this since day one because I remember what happened 8 years ago, basically. Well, 4 years ago. 8 years ago now. But and then with the president doing his meme, and I love Trump, so everybody's like, oh, you got Trump syndrome. The only thing I think of TDS is touchdowns in football. That's it. TDS is touchdowns. You guys can call it whatever you want, but I'm trying to add the pieces here, and it makes sense with our crypto. Like, I've done the same thing for 4 years under 3 different regimes now. Well, 2 now, but because it's the same one repeated. But this is craziness. Like, think about what they're saying here. The district court's decision conflicts with the Supreme Court, the definition of investment contract, and Howie. The district court's decision starkly conflicts with the decision. The Pickwick, Trump, Garlinghouse, and Elderly says it all. The court stuff is BS, period. That's what I'm... Read between the lines. That's why I said don't get thrown off by this. It's just, if there was ever a ruling that they switched something, that's why I started out this way. That's why I started out this way. We have to see how much credibility we have with our law team, our legal team with Ripple. And this is going to tell us it all as this goes on. This is just... The district court's decision conflicts with the Supreme Court's definition of a investment contract. Which is the higher branch? District or Supreme? Do we even know these days? The district court's decision starkly conflicts with the decisions of... I don't even know. In the USA, is there even any separation of branch? I know by definition there is. But does it seem like it? Like, the Supreme Court and now the district court is trying to say something that it doesn't even make... Why does this even have relevance? The district court... Who cares? It's the district court. If the Supreme Court defines something... I don't even understand how this makes sense. If the Supreme Court definition of an investment contract, how can another district court try to... This just seems like they're going backwards. Like, if I do something at the district level and nothing happens, and then I go to Supreme Court and they make a decision, there's no way I'm going back to district. This doesn't even make sense. Am I wrong? Like, what the hell is going on here? Just like I break down a chart, this just doesn't make sense to me. My understanding, like, if I went to the district court and they didn't pass something, and I went to the Supreme Court and they overruled the district court, I can't then go back to the district court and want them to this doesn't even make sense. I'm just being brutally honest with what I've been seeing. And it don't smell right. This doesn't even make any sense. What the hell is going on in this country? This does not make sense to me. This is going backwards. How can you go back? Exactly. That's what I'm saying, Nick. That's exactly what I'm saying. No. It's not a big deal. I know it's an amicus. I'm just saying this... The amicus in itself isn't a big deal. Let me restart this. Just like I started this. We're going to learn a lot about Stuart Alderodi and James K. Phelan, whether or not they were telling us the truth and that they can never go back and flip this to being a security, because that's what we've been fed, and that's through our readings. That's what it seems like, and we have to go by the legal experience, right? Maybe, maybe not. But now we're going to see how true that is. But this just seems like it's going back. At an amicus alone, how can they file in the district level if it's already been ruled in Supreme? It doesn't even make sense. This doesn't make sense. This should have been thrown out on its basis saying, hey, y'all, you're going to the wrong court. We don't have higher power. Like, what's next? They're going to go into the Judge Judy and make the next decision? Like, is that going to supersede the district? I mean... The district court's decision starkly conflicts with the decision of numerous other courts that have addressed the same issue. The district court ignored the economic reality surrounding the offer and sale of Ripple's XRP token and ability of investors to comprehend the link between Ripple efforts and the promise of profit. So after 4 years, they're finally making this argument? Like, I don't understand. This doesn't... The district court did not make a realistic or accurate appraisal of today's investors. Ripple, thanks for, I love how they always speak for the investors. Hell, I'm an investor. Why don't you ask me? The only thing that doesn't sit right with me is the court's continuously putting this through the ringer. How about that? Did anybody actually, they always say they're defending us, retail. You're not defending shit because to me, you're screwing me over. This would be 3 or 4 times more valuable than it is right now if you guys would just stay the hell out of this. It's no different than food. Hey, we need to have our government regulated Overwatch. Why? So you can put a whole bunch of shit in our stuff. That's all this is. It's all BS. Sorry, but this is all nonsense. Like, they're not doing me any good. Securities and Exchange Commission, you are hurting retail, not helping us. I have an audience of almost 31,000 people. You are not helping us. 0. You are hurting our efforts. So I don't know who the hell they're talking to, but I can tell you right now, who the hell are these bums that started this? Who's the bums that filed it this time? Better Markets? I can tell you right now, you're not looking out for retail. You're being paid by another politician to start some bullshit. And who it is, that's anybody's guess, but this is some bullshit. You're not helping me. So please tell me who the hell you're helping. That's what I want to know. On an individual basis, I could come on and say, hey, you're not helping me. I got 31,000 people watching me. Are any of my 31,000 audience members, are they helping any of you? If one of you say yes, then I'll change my view. But if you say yes, I mean, that would be interesting. So the district court failed to consider the harm that investors will suffer if crypto securities traded on platforms are exempted from securities regulations. What is hurting us? The district court's decision has a perverse effect of protecting institutional investors, but not retail investors. Ha! Doesn't seem like that to me. By institutional investors having a little protection, retail is going to go nuts. So what? We're not going to get offered the same protections because we're not dealing with the same kind of money. It's the way it always works. Stop acting like this is something different than any other branch. Crypto investment offerings continue to grow with heavy participation by retail investors. What? Crypto investment offerings continue to grow with heavy participate by... No shit. So my investment offerings can continue to grow, right? If I'm invested in XRP with heavy participation by more retail. Wow. To think my investment could go up if more people are investing in what I invested in. Holy crap. Whew. Man, I'm glad that they spelled that out for me. Crypto security offerings continue to be marked by volatility and illegal practices that inflict large losses on investors. You've just described the entire stock market, forex market, commodities market, gold and silver market, precious metals, and everything else in between, including crypto. Thank you. But as we know, when they regulated the stock market, it made it worse. So stay out of my business. Thank you, and go to hell. And that's all we can read. I mean, we can read more, but what's the point? Oh, Ahmed Eshkikawi, Crypto Deegan says holding 10,000 XRP is the key to unlocking financial freedom. Brave new coin. What the hell is this? Alex Wickman, UK Probe 20. What is this? Is this all the nonsense they're putting in here? Look at this garbage. This is what I mean. They're using influencers. Okay, fine. Then I would like to strike a case against AI because AI is feeding me all this information about a bunch of stuff. So AI is very dangerous. It should be looked at as a national security threat because it's artificial intelligence. It's not real. So, I mean, by their philosophy, why is artificial intelligence allowed? Isn't that a threat to me? The retail consumer of knowledge? So as a retail consumer of knowledge, where is the Securities and Exchange Commission protecting my knowledge, my brain? Like, get the fuck out of here. Excuse my French, but this literally is so mind-numbing that if you have no brain, I guess we'll go with it. But if you have any form of functional thought, it's gone to a, oh my God, it's gone to a different level now. If you can't see how stupid they think we are now, I believe that's why they put Trump back in office. I really do. They figured if they put Trump in, they could put everything in front of us that they needed to. I have a bad feeling about this. I have a very bad feeling about this. You know what sucks? I really like Trump, but I feel like they're using him to push all this over us. And then they'll come out with the Biden 2.0 and be like, oh, look what he did, blah, blah, blah. You know, that's exactly what they did from 8 years ago. Biden didn't do anything in 4 years. It was just a continuation of, never mind. What does it matter? I'm not a politics person. I can just see what the government's doing. So I say I don't believe politics. I just see real world. I don't care if it's red, blue, Biden, Trump, doesn't matter. No difference. Obama, Biden, Trump, Bush, Reagan, fucks it matter. Nixon, all of them, it don't matter. Bush Senior, Bush, it's all the same. Exactly. Exactly. No, it's not. I see easy. I'm not saying anything that I can't say. Just we're in an interesting point here. So much positive news today. Hard to pick my favorite, but this one from the fact sheet accompanying the executive order strikes a chord, doesn't it? President Trump will help make the United States the center of digital finance technology innovation by halting aggressive enforcement actions and regulation overreach that has stifled crypto innovation under previous. Oh, wait a minute. This was 14 hours ago. I'm sorry. Wasn't there just an amicus breach that basically says this exact line right here is nonsense because Trump would have thrown that out right on the spot? He would have said, bullshit. You're not coming after U.S. technology. Like, this is all, I'm telling you, this is all, why even make this comment? It's exactly like the previous administration because right when Trump went in, there's another witch hunt. I don't understand. Like, are we really just going to act like it's not happening because it's under Trump's watch? Like, I'm not going to let anything go freer than I did before because it's all relevant to my trading. Hopefully in a week we won't have to talk about any of this, but I have a feeling that this is, I told you they're bringing regulation by enforcement, and whether they do it in these 4 years or when he walks out the office, this is all laying the foundation. This sucks. Crypto will be untradeable in 4 years, it looks like. Well, I'm going to get off of this, but it does. It looks like crypto could be untradeable in 4 years. Like, we're going to have to make the most of this. But if you don't think some of this brings in, all bro talks about is Trump. Left wing, right wing, same bird. Yep. Very true. Well, I can only talk about who's in charge. I can't talk about Kermit the Frog. So let's see. XRP, let's get back into this. So we are still in this bullish consolidation. And what I see, now as long as it holds this is going to be very powerful. This will be very powerful. And it's pretty exciting to see how this plays out. So we know everything I've talked about with XRP this morning. It's already been almost a half hour. I don't want to keep talking about the truth because some people get offended. So I'm gonna step away from what's happening in the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. I apologize that it's Trump now instead of Biden, but I would have been saying the same thing if Biden was in office because it's part of what's going on. I can't help who's in office. They're letting it happen on their watch, is my point. So if we thought it was going to be any different from regulation by enforcement under Trump, you're already seeing a clear definition here in the beginning that it might not be that way. I didn't say you wouldn't be able to buy crypto in 4 years. I said it would be untradeable in 4 years in the way we think now. Because, my friend, when you bring regulations in, go look at the stock market. If you think it's the same as it was prior to regulations, you got something wrong. Or you're just not an experienced trader. Like, if you've been in all parts of the trading sectors, you understand what I'm saying. If you just trade XRP or crypto and you think it's verbatimly this is just the way it goes, then you're not going to think that way. Experience speaks volumes. The experience I have, you're not going to know. Unless you have the same experience as me and been through the same BS through regulation and got screwed over and understand what that definition means. Banks won't adopt it until regulations. That's all tomfoolery, my friend. That's a way for them to regulate this market so that the banks control your crypto. Think outside the box. You want the casino-like flow? You want 2, 3, 5, 10,000% moves in a week? In a regulated market, once you have a 200-300% move, they will halt the token. It happens all the time. If they have a short position, they will make it to where you can only sell the position. If they have a long position, they'll make it to where you can only buy the position. Isn't it amazing when I start talking about this stuff, the way I get beaten up in the comments? It's unbelievable. It's not that. So you buy, sell, wake up rich? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. What if you buy and it's already gone up 10x and then it drops 75%? You didn't just wake up and get rich. You went broke by some motto. Like, don't be wise. That's all I'm telling you guys. Just be wise. Honestly, I can't tell you what to do. You have the same mindset that everybody had in 21. Just buy and hold. Can't go wrong. It does go wrong because nobody holds those 3 years when they're down 85%. They sell it because they see their portfolio and they say, I'm going to take whatever I have. And now today they would be up, but they don't have it anymore, most people. Oh, now it explains it. I see the comments. I see some of the people who they're telling me to watch. It makes perfect sense, the mindset in my audience. On some people. You guys can watch whoever you want. If you want to watch the... No wonder the crypto space is so uneducated. Well, look at the people they're telling me to watch. That's all you need to know. They're watching the people that give the worst information. No offense. People talk to me like I haven't made any money in this space. Or I haven't done it in 4 years in front of everyone. I'm not worried. We're having a conversation. I haven't read any comments. I'm just having a conversation based on the flow. You're allowed to preach the energy. But by saying some of the names in chat, I don't even need to say who they're saying. But the names that are being perpetrated, that's why you have the mindset you have and are broke. No offense. Because those so-called influencers pushed a bull market when we went from bull to bear and everybody lost their ass. So they could make some cheap money. I can call it for what it is. All right, I'll go. Just amazing. It's a good thing, though, to see the audience, the way that some of them are split, because this is the common day theme in the USA and abroad. We can't think for ourselves. We cannot think for ourselves. It's amazing. All the evidence in the world to think for yourself, but then we just can't get outside of our emotions. And I understand. I'm an emotional person. I'm Italian. My family came from Italy, and then my other side, on my mom's side, is from Lebanon. So I understand. But the moment we lost functional thought and reality, and we can't get outside of our own emotions, that's how we ended up where we're at. Broke, poor, working for the man, right? Not the white man, working for the man. Remember, politics, racism, that's all to keep you constricted. It is. If you think you can't do something, you won't. It's called manifestation. If you think you can't do it, you're not going to. If you think you can do something, you have the will that's strong enough, your electrical field, that magnetic field around you, will force people to listen, because they're going to say, damn, this guy really knows what he's talking about, or he's really confident, or he's really passionate about what he does. That's the way to pull the magnetic field in your favor, and you can start swaying people's opinion based on truth, based on reality. Then people start seeing their pocketbooks growing. They're like, oh my God, what the hell is going on? This guy, I thought he was bullshitting me, but my portfolio's going up. And then he's talking against stuff that might not be the right things to talk against, because he's actually knows something. Like, that's how you switch it. That's what I do every single day. So when people put me down, I don't actually care. I do, but I don't. You know, I care because I can see how swayed people are and how much they're missing. But I don't care at a personal level. I used to. When I first started this, it would gut me into my real life. Now I'm just like, man, it kind of sucks, because I see so many people that are going to be so bad off here. And I used to say in 21, the worse off people get, the better off we will be if you're following through with what we're saying in the community. I've never been in a wealthier position as my peers have never been poorer. And it sucks. It sucks. And most of the poor people that are where I just was not too long ago won't listen to me. Even though I've walked the road you're walking exactly right now. I was born with nothing. Turned it into something, but not family made. See, I didn't get a business handed to me to make my wealth. My family didn't open some fancy law office or some fancy construction. Yeah. This is self-freaking made what I'm showing you right now. So I went from negative to something because I know the truth. If you want to know the truth and you want to make something, keep watching. That's it. That's all you have to do. You don't have to do anything else except watch. I don't charge you for anything. I'm just showing you my walk. If my walk isn't right for you, that's okay. But my walk is turned it into something where I don't have to walk out my door and go walk somebody else's walk to make them a living. And if that doesn't resonate with you, think about what I'm saying. If you don't want to keep putting money in the pocket of somebody else and you're sick of working that freaking 9 to 5 for the rest of your life, you got to learn how to invest properly and read the social cues of the market, period. I'm not standing here in front of you because I don't know something. I have the ability to stand here in front of you because I made something of my time and investment and the money I've earned, currency, turned some of it into money, but I've made it into a fashion of life that works. Why? Because I go against the grain of most of you. Because when everybody gets stuck in their emotion in the trading game, I know that's the time to strike. When everybody's so bearish that they want to jump up a cliff, I know we're about to go up. When everybody's so bullish that it seems like nothing but up, 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 we knew there was going to be a big correction. Like, you just have to understand the social cues. And I'm not putting the audience down because most of my audience is beautiful, brilliant, and they're so freaking lovely to be around that I want to be here every single day. I have made the same point 10 times over. What do you mean? Oh, I forgot. I forgot. No, that's what I was saying. I forgot that some people don't. That's what I was just saying. Remember I said some people don't want the advice? Get back to the TA. This is all part of the TA. Don't you understand? This is all part of the TA. It's so funny. But yeah, no. So I'm just sharing personal experience. But it's all part of the TA. That's what you don't understand. Most of you that tell me just get back to the TA. That is part of the TA. Your social economic, that's part of the TA. Politics, part of the TA because it all plays into it. But I get it. You just want to see the number on the screen and don't want to know why it means anything. I get that too. Just make me money, Tom. Don't tell me how to do it, but just make me the money. Don't teach me how to fish or the struggles I'm going to go through. But damn it, if you just show me that chart, it'll make everything better. Honestly, the background seems to be fitting today, doesn't it? See, but we're being speaking the market sentiment in chat. See how many people are mad because of what I'm saying? That's what I mean. It's just, you could do a social experiment just based on this group. I've not done anything but technical analysis the whole time. That's what I mean. Most of you don't understand how I get my information, like how I make the rationality of if the chart's going to play out one way or the other. So if you're looking at this, what? You don't see a chart? You don't see how I made this for you? The upward projection would be 61 cents. A breakdown of this chart on algo would bring it down to some pretty interesting levels, right? That we haven't seen in a while. Back down to 12.5. But it also becomes, is that really what it wants to do? Hey, we came outside the uptrend. But I still see, on IOTA, I still see a massive setup. On algo, I see a massive bull flag. Sorry, I was on, but this is algo, the breakout on the back test. So, I mean, I see a lot of positivity in these charts. IOTA, I see a lot of positivity in the chart. It's just IOTA, if it broke down, obviously, if it breaks down or breaks up, you want to know where it's going to end up. But I see a lot of positivity right now. Now, if it breaks these formations, it could be something different. UK Phil, welcome in, my friend. Glad to see you in the audience as always. But it's nice to see IOTA up 5% today. It is. Came back down to the bottom of the uptrend. And now if it just sways and plays this out, we need to get past the 200-day here in the 4-hourly at 33.5 cents. Could bring us up to 41.6. You flip 40% of your XRP to XLM. Ballsy. I'm not usually in the camp of wanting to switch from one to the next, but I can certainly see why you did it. If you look at XRP in the all-time chart, it's breaking out of that big bull flag or big pennant or flag or whatever you want to call it, or pole, whatever. That big breakout, you can see it in the all-time chart. If you look at XLM, it hasn't quite started that breakout yet, but that looks like, to me, we're getting there very quickly. I see levels that can be tested on XLM as well, but let's be honest. That's a big inverse head and shoulders back testing the breakout now. It was also in this, I suppose you could just call it a bull flag, falling channel, whatever. But this is absolutely set up in a way that if it bounces off here, now we have to get past this resistance. That's the cycle uptrend. Get back above 49 cents, you're off to the races to 62. I'll just put it that way. Like, we can talk about all the other retests and all that, like Nick is saying, because it's true. But if we get past that uptrend, we're off to the races. Up to 62, and then we can possibly go very deep. You know, I'm starting to realize something too. Maybe I should just not talk about certain things because if I talk a certain way, it brings out a certain part of the audience, and then it's hard to get the audience back into the gear. Like, the comments are all over the place. Everything is flying without XRP. How? I don't understand. XRP went from 48 cents to $3.18. What do you mean? You mean some things are catching up? Yes, that's true. But XRP's already 10x'd. Literally, XRP 10x basically from where it started. So to say it hasn't done anything that's the lie. XCN is 10x, but it didn't do anything for a while, so it caught up. I know it's doing a little consolidation. That's why nobody's talking about it today. But, you know, when it's flying, everybody talks about it. But when it's the time to talk about it, nobody wants to talk about it. What the hell is everybody talking about it on the consolidation? You should all be all over asking me what's going on with it today. And I showed it yesterday. If it could hold the 1.8, then you have a chance to come up to that 3.6. And now it's held that. So why is anybody asking today? So that's what I mean. Like, everybody asks the questions when something's flying. Ask when it's not. Ask when it's consolidating. Is Assemble AI a meme coin? I don't know enough about it. My first inclinations were maybe, but the more I started seeing on it, I don't know yet. That's actually a really good question and above my pay grade in the artificial intelligence space. Because at first I thought it was, but now that I've been reading more about it, I'm not quite convinced that it's just a me. I don't know. There's so many tokens out there right now that makes it hard to distinguish. XCN is up again. Well, actually, it's had a rather large consolidation, so we'll see if it breaks out. It could break out. Bitcoin's up 1.8%, up 1,900 points right now to 105,842. And it looks like this is going to play out the way we projected it. When it gets out of that symmetrical triangle like it did, and it's playing true like it seems to be, that first target's 112,800. It looks like it's trying to play up there. And then even though it's in a rising, broadening wedge, even outside the symmetrical triangle, unless it breaks, you could still come up and still be inside that rising, broadening wedge, believe it or not, and still get rejected at 122,000, which is the cycle target after it broke out of the initial pattern. Brother, you are the best in the business. My XRP average is 38 cents because of you. That's excellent to read. That's where I bought it. Right around there. 34, 35 was my. That's beautiful. And 38 too. So you bought it likely on that drop down that it had. So you had probably aren't even holding that much. Thank you for the blessing us with your knowledge. Hey, Joseph, no problem. Thank you for being in Tom's Army, for paying it forward. I appreciate that. Oh, you haven't seen nothing yet. We'll just wait for XCN to do what it's going to do. XCN's JP Morgan. When you guys see the manipulation that comes after, well, I'm not even, we'll watch it play out. That's all I've said from the beginning. Just watch it play out. But when you see the manipulation on XCN in the end, what ends up happening the most, the ones you got in early are going to be very happy. There's just going to come a moment in time that'll be like that, where you're either going to have to sell it or you're going to be part of the ones holding it from about a 75 percentile that are going to be under. It's JP Morgan's. They always do the same thing. But right now it looks great. You know, you're doing great. No, the megaphone pattern didn't necessarily break. The megaphone pattern never materialized in the way it should have. So I just went back to the basics of the pattern and put it into a bull flag, because that actually sets up, or if you want to do like some kind of descending triangle, or descending wedge, but I don't necessarily think that we need to do that yet. I think that we just set it up like this in the bull flag. It shows an inverse head and shoulders. And now I think we stay within this framework unless it gives us a reason not to. I was trying to project it out into a megaphone, but it doesn't seem to be working that way, because we got that. It seems to be descending in resistance. So you'd want to see kind of a push out in resistance a little bit on one of these. And it looked like it was working itself in. So I think it's easier to look at it almost like in the bull flag setting and just keep it basic. And then the short target would be up to $3.61. And then here, let me get rid of these, because there's a much, it's essentially the same target as we were giving. It's just if you look at it as a bull flag out of the break, out of the pennant, and then you measure the move from the top, in totality, I mean, it gets you right where we're talking about. And honestly, it gets you that cycle uptrend. Like, it's a big move. This would be a big move. You would get into areas we've never been in before if this played out. Why doesn't YouTube ever renew your membership? I don't know. I've been asked that question a lot by people. I honestly don't know. Most people that are not in Tom's Army that once were think they still are, because they did it auto-renew and it just doesn't. I don't know why. Maybe when they update terms of... I don't know. I wish I did. You know, there's an X-Files episode calling Ripple a poison pill. Would trust XRP the same as XCN. I've already said this. Didn't you guys... what do you mean? I would trust XRP the same as XCN. I mean, I don't disagree with that. I've said from the beginning, the only reason I'm invested in XRP when I did is because the World Economic Forum, the International Monetary Fund, and the U.S. government equally were invested in the project. And just like Bitcoin, the same creator of Bitcoin is the creator of Ripple. I don't really care who listens to me in XRP. I don't care who listens to me. That's just what I base my decisions on, and it's done very well for me. UK Phil, yes, welcome to Tom's Army for over 1 year now. I didn't even notice that it was 1 year. You've had that, the predictor on the, or the, yeah, the XRP predictor for 6 months. Oh, it's awesome. Thank you so much for that. Over a year. That's incredible. But I mean, this chart looks great to me right now. And then if we can get a breakout here, and this actually is this inverse pattern. Oh, man. Oh, yeah, I know what you're... Trust me, I know what you're saying, Soul. You're dead on. You're 100% on the money. You're 100% on the money. Tommy, $4.99 thoughts on XCN. Yeah, I showed it for a second. Thank you for the donation. I really appreciate it. We'll go into AXELAR in just a sec. But here, I'll pull my chart up real quick. As long as it holds this back test, and I've had all the layers out before this ever broke. So, I had the consolidation before the breakout. We had the first, second tier, and the third tier. And then if it were to hold the back test, that's how we could make some big noise. Now, if it falls under 1.8, there could be some implications there if it fell under, obviously, because this could turn into a big head and shoulders, like a big head here. But as long as it's over, the initial was 1.8. That was my projection. But now that we know where it's at, you have a cycle resistance here. You want to stay over that. You want to backtest the wick high that we ran up to, consolidated through. Now you'd be showing a sign of strength if you held this backtest, a sign of weakness if you came through. But you also have to remember you've got an uptrend that is very beautifully defined here. So if you're a trader, as long as it theoretically stayed above that uptrend, technically you're okay, but the farther you come down here, the less chance it is of holding. I know it sounds stupid, but it's true. And honestly, the only reason I say that is because you actually had for anybody holding this right now, there was actually a great breakout on the consolidation. But that's how you got to look at this, just like that. So as long as it doesn't give back that breakout consolidation, you're fine. Yes, you would prefer for it to hold the 2-cent mark. I get that. But don't beat your head through the wall unless it breaks through this area right here at 1.34 cents. Other than that, that's all I've got to say about XCN. But I'll continue to update the audience. I got no problem updating the audience. Jedi, thank you so much for the $10 donation. Like I've said, it's all about the vibe. If you guys are being cool with me, I will talk about it. And we're being cool today. Well, some of you are, but the person who asked about XCN, it was very polite about it. So I went into it right away. AXELAR is up 12.97% today. It peaked at about 17%. This is a Ripple product. Well, it's one that has some dealings with Ripple, as we've come to know, thanks to Kryptonian. And I've been investing in it. I'm over, what is it? I know in the spot positioning, I'm over 5,700 tokens. But now that it made the run up, I was having fun buying it under 60 cents. And then I was just having fun in that consolidation. But now that seems to have ended. What is this chart? You're amazing, Tom. Thanks for all you do. I appreciate that, soon. And thank you for being a very trusted mod in Tom's Army for over 6 months and a $9.99 donation. That's incredibly generous. We'll look at H-bar, I promise. I just want to get a different chart. I don't know why that. I want to see something. I was going to say, I knew I had a different chart. How is it going to just delete it on me? Unless I had one on my phone that was different, but whatever. All right, so with AXELAR, and we don't even have to keep it from way back here. I think it makes sense to bring it over here. Whoops. Great, now I just, hold on. Let me get rid of this. Sometimes there's so many comments, I can't see what I'm doing. And I know I did this because that's where, oh, I remember now. Never mind, I have to keep it there because that is technically where, no, we don't have to keep it there because that's where the uptrend started, but it's not relevant for right now. It is relevant like this, though, for AXELAR. And this is something that it basically has been consolidating while everything else is broken out. So this is another one. Kind of like XCN, how it was on the bottom there. And then it broke out and it caught up to the market and it's like, well, I don't know if it's at 10x still. A little bit under 10x. But it caught up the market. A lot of the market's 10x. And some things are still well below. Like there's a lot of things well below. Like AXELAR, when this started, it was at 40 cents. When this started, it was at 40 cents. And that was back in August. If you look at from where the breakouts happen in most of crypto, somewhere around here. You know, this started in August. But if you look at the bottom to the top right now, it's up only like 60% compared to, like you've seen, XCN is up, what, 1,000% since it pushed out. XRP's up over 1,000% almost. No, not quite, about 900%. You've got other things that are way up. You've got XLM that's way up, but AXELAR is not way up right now. It really isn't. Oh yeah, IOTX. I love IOTX. I think it's a very undervalued. I par it in relation to IOTA. It's very similar to IOTA without being a mainframe token. Well, depends how you look at it, but it's not technically a mainframe token. Well, I don't know though. It is a very significant one for the IoT, the Internet of Things. I'm a very big fan of IOTX. Max, we can talk about that in a sec because I have 120,000 plus IOTX. I love it. Love it. But anyhow, AXELAR at 68.4 cents. I think it's starting to warm up here. I think it's finally starting to rev up a little bit. Significant push up out of its holding. Came off of the support structure. This is what we want to see. Nice descending consolidation. You can see a descending channel that was absolutely formed on the drop. I mean, I guess you can see it in a way. Actually, I can see more than just that, though. Because you could take it from the top tier. But I'm not going... Oh, my God, this would be great. Sometimes tokens come into your life that you would have never known about if it wasn't for the audience. And this is one that I feel just so happy that Kryptonian would not... He forced me to understand it. And once I realized how it relates with Ripple and all, and the tie-ins, I was like, wow. And fortunately, it had this big drop down into our formation back to the third hit of support, or at least the second if you look at it this way. And now with the inside consolidation, I mean, this looks like a descending wedge that, I mean, looks like it busted out. It looks like we're busting out right now. If that's the case, you're running all the way up to like $1.12 without any major resistance. If it can get out of here. If it gets out of this, then it's $1.84. And then if it breaks out of that, then it gets really, really interesting. Like if it starts breaking back towards the top, oh boy. So anyhow, we'll continue to watch that unfold. I'm glad to see this is up 13.3%. I am. IOTX before we get back to the H-bar because it's getting later. It's already been almost an hour and it's early on Friday, so I got things to do. But IOTX is right on its support structure. One could argue that it's basically setting up like AXELAR. Tom Soldier here, thanks for what you do. It's much appreciated. Oh, I gotta watch that. Or I gotta read that. I gotta read that all the way through. Thank you for being part of Tom's army. Gun Garage Tactical, it's much appreciated. I am new and learning a lot from you. Would you consider showing us how to run a technical analysis? What do you mean? I don't know what you mean, like run a technical analysis. You mean like the way I set up my chart? Or like, because I mean, I run through the TA every single day and like, in a fashion to where, okay, set up the chart. That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I try to, but I could absolutely go over like from the beginning. But also, thank you for the $20 donation as well. I appreciate that. I do try to. But what exactly are you trying to figure out? Like, are you trying to figure out like? I love you too, my friend. I do. I agree. AXELAR is severely underhanded. Brother in Arms IOTX, I love it. Surprising how fast you pick up TA. It is. If you keep watching, because I do it, I don't charge for anything. So, like, literally, if you just come in every day, I tell you exactly what I'm doing with the charts. I know, Michael. I just don't want to talk too deeply about AXELAR. Besides, it's got a Ripple connection. I know about the tie-in with the Federal Reserve. And the thing that's most exciting about it, and this is the major selling point, too. Does anybody understand what the max supply is of AXELAR? So low. I mean, it's not XRP healthcare low, but it's low in comparison to our tokens. 902.65 million available, and there's only 1.19 billion in total supply. So, like, this is one that could absolutely run to 2 and 3 digits over time. And if you were able to buy it with us in the 50-cent range, hell, even in the 60-cent range now where it's at. But yeah, it's definitely one to pay attention to. Yes, Gun, pay attention to this as I do it every day because I literally, that's how I don't know if you were here at the start of this live. If not, I went over and I described the way I was setting up the pattern and why and the different things that it could set up in. And then I went into the falling channel pattern. So I will bring it up on Google as well after I make the pattern, just to try to validate and show like the reasoning why it sets up a certain way and yada, 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 so on and so forth. But for IOTX, it looks like a nice consolidation. I'm targeting that 10-cent mark with the breakout. I would be a little surprised if this broke down, but it's not unheard of. But to me, I think we're playing off of something really, really large here. And it's taken a long time. Then I think this went into like a little handle, but if it swings out, I think it's something even deeper. Boom, boom, and then this is like a right shoulder. And then the pattern just would have to play out like swing up, back around. But obviously you could go boom, 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 and then up. And then eventually this is building, in my opinion, one large cup and handle. So I don't think there's any doubt that this is coming back to 27 cents in time. I know it's crazy, but I'm telling you, I think we have potential even way bigger than this. And again, the cool thing about IOTX is you're not talking about 50 or 80 or 90 billion tokens. You're talking about 10 or 9 point something billion tokens in totality. So it's another one where you're not talking 10 billion. And there's already been 9.44 billion put in circulation. So there's not a large amount left to hit circulation. So that's not one that has 140 billion like Doge. You know, it's one that has, you know, not even 1/10. So there is opportunity out here still. A lot of opportunity. I used to have Quorum and Solo. But after I left Uphold, for obvious reasons, for some don't know, but I left Uphold because of issues. And I, instead of focusing on Quorum and Solo, I took my attention to XRP Healthcare on the XRP ecosystem. And I'm glad. I am. It's still consolidating. It's in two massive inverted hammer candles after the breakout in the all-time chart. That is not bearish. In fact, this is a bullish inverted hammer on its current candle. So that's one that I put my focus on, and I believe in long term this has much more potential than Quorum and Solo, based on the pure fact it's running a different faction. It's running in the healthcare, virtual healthcare, all that, pharmaceuticals, but it's also only got 100 million tokens. And I also believe, when you look at this chart, that it's on an all-time cup and handle. Some might see it, some might not, but just on this chart alone, to me, it looks like it's building an all-time cup and handle. Then what do you have to do, folks? I haven't shown you this target yet, by the way. Does anybody want to be privy to the target that I've been waiting for? Oh, maybe I have shown you this target. Did I already show this one? Oh, I guess I did. I guess that's how I came up with this. It's just not tall enough. So, I mean, that's, if you're looking at totality of what I'm looking at and why I haven't sold or why I haven't taken any profit, it's not even just this. It's not even just this. Whoops, that's not even the whole part. You'd have to get above here. So I'm looking at this in ways that it's not even close to where it's going. I don't think this is even close. I think we're on an all-time cup and handle that we see now. And it's going to take time, but only being 100 million token supply and things like that. I mean, it's fascinating. It's fascinating. I'm just glad that I was able to tell the audience at around 2 cents. And then whoever bought it, whoever didn't. And it's just cool. I don't, what is flow? I'm glad you guys got in with me too, honestly. Those strength in numbers. And then H-bar, and then I got to go. I want to go help Julie. And I want to do what we got to do. But this also, this looks fantastic for H-bar. It's broken out. And like, we can draw these smaller patterns if we want. That's fine. But if we just look at it in totality from the breakout point and get rid of some of the noise, we're trying to get past 39.9 and ultimately to 44 cents. And once we get on top of there, I believe it's off to the races. Like, H-bar, I think, has a lot of noise to be done. There's an argument that H-bar, and I'm not going back to the all-time alt. I'm using this chart for a reason. There's an argument to be made that we're building a handle now from a cup, and this would surge out of control. Just saying, like, these are building massive consolidations. So it can't be that the whole entire market is showing the same thing. I think something big is going to happen. Do some research on Verge. Ooh, I like when somebody brings up ISOs that are cheaper, that I don't have a lot of knowledge on. So I do what I do, by the way. This is a very constructive end of this. I love it. I love it because I would have never thought to go down this road. Ooh. That almost looks like an XCN style breakout. Came from 002, came up to 2 cents. That's very similar, actually. They both did a very similar breakout. Ooh, I like to see the connections with other tokens that are doing similarities in the same time frame. That's pretty interesting. I'll take a look at that one. Soul Jeffy, thank you for that advice. I'll take a look at that and look at that deeper outside of our analysis today. And then XDC, and I do have to go. I'll do XDC because somebody asked, and my audience is special. We do good together. But see how XDC in the all-time chart, see how it broke out like that? Just look at XLM. Hasn't broken out of there. And I keep reinforcing this. Look at Algo. Hasn't broken out of there. Look at IOTA. Trying to break out of here, but hasn't yet. DGB to a smaller scale. Hasn't broke out, but same flag setup. ZIL hasn't broke out. Massive inverted hammer on the candle right now on its all-time chart. VChain hasn't broke out. HBAR has broke out. XDC has broke out. So some seem like they're behind, but they're really not. XDC's on the same parallel front as XRP. XRP and XDC have moved in tandem. The one who hasn't is XLM's undervalued. So the person earlier who put their money from XRP to XLM, ballsy, but I don't hate it. They've moved some of their profits from XRP, some of their tokens to XLM. I do not hate it. I actually personally own more XLM than XRP token-wise. I know it doesn't sit right with most, but it's true. I hold more than double XLM than I do XRP. So, XRP Healthcare, you can buy it on, I believe the Zaman wallet, you can buy it now still. It's going to take some work to understand that. But you can definitely do that. Now, for me, you can also do LBank via the app, but for some, it's not working. Like when I first tried to sign up for the LBank, it told me that my IP was restricted. But then when I did the app, it worked. Yeah, we're all over the place today. We got to be all over the place. Yes, you do know who is pushing the new lawsuit. Well, we've read who is pushing the new lawsuit. I want to hear your interpretation, David, before I leave. There was an announcement with Cynthia Loomis. No, it's the same thing as like wrapped XRP. I keep getting that with Maxi. When I tried, it didn't work. Oh, when you tried LBank, it didn't work. Yeah, that's the problem. A lot of people are having it. Yeah, Maxi, if you're in the USA, it won't work. They used to let us use it. That's where we used to buy it, but it doesn't. Yeah, XRPH can be bought on the XRP ledger and the DEX. That's what I was saying with Zaman, but it would take a little bit of time to get used to for some who aren't used to it. But yeah, and then with XDC, I just want to make sure that, but I'm just saying, like, there's a lot of them that haven't broke out yet. Like XDC is essentially pushed out of here already in a big way. We're still trying to see if we can hold that 10.9 because we haven't come up to totality yet. I thought we were going to come up because we were working on a massive cup, and I still think we are. I think in time, because we thought it was a big inverse head and shoulders, which we were proven right on. Over time, we were proven right. Initially, it didn't look like it. Looked like we were just kind of smoking the let's get rich stuff when it wasn't there. But I think we're going to build something like that and then bounce through. I really do. I think that's what we're building. That's why I still think we're coming up to 20 cents here. I still think we're coming up to 20 cents. I just can't help but think that XLM at this point in the game is the best deal on paper when it comes to XRP, XLM, and XDC. I know it's more expensive than XDC, but it's supposed to be. But I think it's got a massive, I'm just saying that is incredibly big. I don't know the last time I seen a pattern like that on XLM, to be honest. I don't. She's the fun. Yeah, I know she's a Bitcoin maxi. I know. That's something that I really didn't want to talk about today. Yes, I use Zaman Wallet. That doesn't mean I don't flip it from the Zaman Wallet and I would be afraid to put it on an exchange, but when I'm not using it, yes, it sits in there. But yeah, there's a lot we're gonna have to talk about. We really are. But I gotta go, everybody. I gotta go deal with family stuff. I'll be back. I'll be on live at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So there are XLM maxis who dump on SHX and VELO. Yes, indeed they do. Indeed they do. But I'm not dumping on VELO. I love VELO. I have over 100,000 VELO. SHX is not, I don't think it's still currently on any of my exchanges that I use. If it was, I would own it. It's that simple. But I'm definitely not one that's going to dump on something within the Stellar ecosystem. But yeah, we'll talk later. And